Ahoy there, trader, and welcome back. This is the Anti-Investor Stock Market and Income Trading Podcast. Now, trading is hard, but today, let's make it easy. I'm going to break down how to solve some of the stock market's hardest challenges, and today we're going to be looking at embracing technology, and let's take a leap from the past into the future. So welcome back. My name's Phil Newton, and this is the Anti-Investor Podcast, where we talk about what really works and consistently wins at trading in the financial markets. My goal is to give you the right tools, the correct rules, the software to assist you, a community to support you, and if you'll allow me to be a mentor to show you the way so that you get real results in the fastest and smartest possible way. So then, technology and trading, it has advanced significantly in the last few years, let alone the last 30 years when I first got started in trading. I literally started out in the early 90s hand drawing charts, and today, when we just fast forward, we can both code and no code trading strategies. And what I mean by that is they will literally do it for you. There's no coding software solutions that are revolutionizing how we can develop and implement trading strategies, algorithms, and essentially enhance efficiency and precision. Ooh, tongue twister. I've almost got my Sean Connery teeth in today. So then, moving on. Advancements in technology, leaps and bounds ahead of where we were. Again, I started off with pencil and paper. Although computers were they were expensive. You know, I had a very poor upbringing, so I started off quite literally hand drawing charts, using the data, 20-minute delayed data from the old CFAX and Teletext, if you remember that. If you're in the UK, I'm not sure what the US equivalent was, but again, today we have algorithmic trading platforms where we can back test, forward test, sideways test, walk forward, walk backwards, crab walk. We can do every type of testing. My tool of choice has always been TradeStation. To be fair, it's a little bit of a clunky Goliath compared to what's available out these days. But back then, there was few to no choices. I think Metastock was the other one. There was TradeStation that you could code stuff in. But if you weren't a programmer, and for many years, I didn't take full advantage of it. You know, I started developing my own strategies and ideas and concepts, and then would hire someone. So it was quite an expensive venture to test an idea out just to see if it was worthwhile. Now there's so many coders out there that you can hire to shake a stick at. It's inexpensive if you do go to a coding solution, but you have no-code solutions like TrendSpider is the one that springs to mind. You can quite literally put your thought processes in an if this then that type of solution. And if you're an options trader, again, there's plenty of back testing solutions out there that will give you some great ideas and find some opportunities. And there's even some I was looking at one just the other day. I'm going to say real time. It's not real time, but it basically does time series analysis, which I found quite interesting. I'll explore that, and maybe I'll get the developer of that one for an interview at some point in the future. But it's quite interesting. Anyway, you've got real-time data as another thing that we all take for granted, and it's almost for free. I mean, even the delayed data is, I think the least is 10 minutes, and it's up to 20 minutes. But 10-minute delayed data for free. To get started in this world, just to get your first rung on the ladder, to have a little look and a peek behind the curtain of what is real-time trading on the charts. You can quite literally log onto a website. You had to pay an arm and a leg. I mean, again, when I first started out, there was no internet. If you wanted real-time data, you had to spend £2,000 in bright shiny pennies of the UK money and get a satellite dish on the side of the house. It was an expensive thing to do for real-time trading. So you have to take it very, very seriously, very, very quickly. And you have to be quite good very, very quickly, just because your overheads would outstrip your trading profits very, very quickly, or to be fair, dip into your trading accounts, if you weren't that good. So the barrier to entry was very, very high, certainly for the short-term trading that I've always preferred. But now you've got a wealth of opportunities and tools available that are low cost, no cost solutions to get started, and then you can kind of pick and choose where you want to go from there. I suppose from my point of view, I'm of that generation where I've been seeing technology before and after. before the abundance of technology and after that abundance. And even 30 years later, it still amazes me what's out there. And I barely scratched the surface of what's available in the technological solution. So if you're born into this generation where you take technology for granted, just imagine if it all went away for a moment and, you had to trade. I think I could take a step back and find opportunities quite easily, but it would be certainly difficult for someone who's born into this generation of technological advancements to have it unplugged for a minute. So just appreciate what you have available to you. And if you're similar age to me, where you've seen that before and after, pick a tool. There's so many out there. Get started with TradingView, TrendSpider, and you don't need the fancy expensive software, again, just to get started, just to kind of find your footing and find the right strategy, find the right methodology, find the right market for you to trade, and then you can go and specialize and find, because again, there's some softwares that specialize in certain markets. Again, there's some specialist option software which I like to look at and use, which help me find opportunities that aren't available for the more generic tools and charting platforms that are out there. Anyway, technology, it can ultimately assist and streamline the processes that you use, but it doesn't replace the fundamental skills. I'm not quite a firm believer that it'll do it for you. If you've not got a robust trading strategy, it's not going to be a perfect solution for you. So don't have it replace the individual. So again, it's a fine line. Again, I suppose what I'm dancing around is I'm not quite there, although I appreciate all technology. I'm not at the automated trading stage. I've got systematic strategies that can be automated, but I just like to put the trade on myself. I just like to make that final decision, because again, technology can cock up. Again, it's programmed by humans. Humans make errors, so I just like to have that little final touch. That's my personal viewpoints. But again, I know plenty of traders that quite literally automate their trading, and they just sit there monitoring it and pushing the levers, turning things on and off and twiddling the dials and whatever else they do. I don't know, but it's to assist and streamline the trading process is how I like to use it. But you can go down the automation route. Anyway, it does enhance your ability as well to analyze large data sets. If I wanted to test an idea, certainly when I was doing it manually, again, I had the data, but to go through that quickly I was looking at 3 months at a time just to develop to test an idea, see if it's viable, and if it was viable, take it to the point where I can streamline it, refine it, validate it. Does it have historical expectation? Does it have then positive expectancy? All the things that we like to look for. That was a 3-month venture. In spreadsheets and taking notes and making observations and going through the charts one at a time, one bar at a time, one day at a time, 1 minute at a time, whatever time frame I was looking at, to again get under the hood. Now I can take that idea, speak to my programmer, and just quite literally the same afternoon have a very basic version just to validate the concept first and foremost, and then bolt on the money management that I like to use, the things that I've already worked out in the past of the way that I like to trade. So I can quite literally analyze 10, 15, 20 years of data at the click of a button, and have it spit out and be done and dusted in 24 hours. Is this a strategy that is worthwhile? Is it validated? Is it positive expectancy? Is it worth my time and resources to put an allocation of cash to this strategy? And I've just been through this process last October, and compared to when I first started out, as I've already said, I would 3 months minimum 3 months trying to research this, and I went from idea to I've made an observation, that's interesting. I went back over a few days just visually, this looks interesting. Oh, it's actually something that is valid. Okay, here's the concept. Speak to the programmer, because I like to have if this then that rules, so it's systematic, and I can go to the program and say, hey, can we do this? And he's going to go yes. So he interprets what I've said in plain English, and he then codes it up. And then I can go and say, oh, actually, no, it's doing this, I meant that, have a little bit of back and forth. But, quite literally within 24 hours, I had a potentially a fully automated algorithm, a system, if you like, that I can, at the push of a button, go back over 10 years of data on 30-minute charts, or any time frame for that matter, and say what would have happened. And over 2,000 occurrences of this pattern that I'd newly observed, add in the trade management and the targeting that I prefer, because I know that that's realistic for me to trade, layer that onto the process, and I have this wonderful strategy that has become the SPX daily income system, as I like to call it. But basically, I can passively income trade using zero-day options. I appreciate the zero-day options weren't around, but the pattern that uses that triggers the trade can be validated. I could trade it with stock, for example, and it would be a profitable trading strategy. Again, I use zero-day options as an alternative, and it just improves the whole experience of that trade very easily. Anyway, the point is that I've deviated from taking a left turn at Albuquerque on this one, haven't I? But the point is I can be done and dusted with technology very, very quickly. Again, I'm fortunate I found a great programmer that can interpret what I've said to him. But if you're not a programmer, you don't need to hire one. You can use, again, TrendSpider is a wonderful tool. That's my kind of online kind of backup, if you like. And I can put if this, then that functionality in it, and it will give you a backtest. You can program these things in without being a programmer. So it enhances your ability to analyze a lot of data very fucking quickly. If you'll excuse my French. I'm swearing a little bit in the last few episodes of these podcasts, but I'm sure you get my emphasis. But nonetheless, you get more points. So you can get a lot of data analyzed very, very quickly. And because of that, the advances in the charting, the trading, the functionality, the back testing, the walk forward analysis that you can do these days, you can apply better decision making. Compared to where I was, although I'm trading very, very similar these days today compared to when I first started out, because I'm able to systematize the decision making process into an algorithm, if this then that style, then it forces me to be clinical, mechanical. And for me, I find it wonderful because it removes the decision making out. I've already made the decision. I've already came up with the strategy. I've already done the hard work. All I need to do is sit there and wait for the bingly bong, the setup to occur, the little dot to appear, the colour of the line to change. However you want to, indicate it. But it goes, we have the setup. Here it is. Right, okay, well, there's no reason for me not to place the trade. Put the damn trade on. And it saves me from second guessing myself. So I have a huge emotional release compared to where I was when I first started out. It was, nose to the screen, watching every tick, almost monitoring the P&L going up a penny, down a penny, up a penny. It was an anxiety roller coaster ride. Now it's such a freeing and liberating experience trading in the markets. And, I'm recording this, what are we, about 45 minutes into the day. I've looked at it 2 or 3 times. I'm looking at it right now for the first time as I am recording this. The markets are open. I've got trades on. Everything's great. It's such a stress-free way of trading compared to what I used to. It means that I can pop the trade on and quite literally walk away. I don't need to be sat glued at the screen because I've got an average expectation. I've got a positive expectancy strategy. Again, I'm expecting to make money on average 7 out of 10 trades with my current short-term strategy. So it's just waiting for those setups to unfold and make some moolah. Now, some non-conventional tech aspects. Again, if you're really into it, again, I barely scratch the surface. There's going to be some people who are really into their machine learning, their AI. You've got predictive analysis, quite literal algorithmic scalping at high level stuff, custom software, all the rest of it. The banks, the institutions have quite literally algorithmic trading departments, and they have hundreds of millions, if not billions of dollars being managed, hedged, traded, all of the above. And they're looking for micro trends, mean reversion. There's lots of things that are out there that are purely mathematical based. So if you want to go really deep on this, you can follow Alice down the rabbit hole on this. As you mentioned last week, you can go to social trading platforms Collective 2, for example, has a website where if you've got a strategy, if you're a developer, you can put your software up there for people to purchase. So if you want to be a developer of strategies, which I know many people do, and you can trade people, you can certainly send out alerts and signals should you want to. Again, I've done that many years ago. I used to write a newsletter for several years and send out my daily trade alerts. I could have linked it up to Collective 2, and people could have logged on and quite literally traded for them via this platform. So if that's a route that you want to go down as a means to getting started, in that world, again, I didn't plan on being an educator before. You get asked, you find you enjoy it, and you find your calling, and I really enjoy doing and teaching people how I trade and developing strategies for them. But if you don't want to speak to them, there's certainly, you can put a website like Collective 2 in between and, basically trade for people without ever having to speak to them via an alert service platform like, again, Collective 2. Again, I'm not associated or affiliated with them. There's plenty of alternatives out there if you want to, but they've been around since 2000, 2001. They're the OG of social platforms before social media was actually a thing. Anyway, virtual reality is an emerging tool. Finally on this, I think we're going to be, if you've seen the movie Minority Report, you can pop some glasses on, a little bit of, well, you don't even need fancy gloves like in Minority Report, but you can pinch the screen, you can manipulate. I think we're going to be going to virtual charting. You can be walking down the street looking at your charts, and pinch and twist and tweak the air, and a trade's being placed. That is a future I am wholly looking forward to, I'm going to be honest, just to bring up my inner nerds. That Minority, watching that movie blew me away because it's a future that is very, very close to where we are right now. Again, we're only in the early stages of essentially augmented reality as opposed to virtual reality. Again, Ready Player One is another one. If you've not seen it, again, you've got those rolling mats. Again, we've got the first generation of those where you can be stood on the spot running, essentially. So, we're very close to immersion reality, or probably might be a good way of thinking about it. Anyway, nerds' behavior behind the future is bright for technology, and I can only see it as a benefit, as an enhancement. It's used for good as far as I'm concerned, and I appreciate that it can be used in a lot of negative ways, but I always like to look at the positive with these things. So we've got a lot of opportunities available to us compared to 30 years ago. Pen and paper is still available in all good bookstores. Well, Magic bookstores aren't even available anymore. You can buy them online. Anyway, but the future's going to be wonderful when it comes to technology. I can only see it improving the way that I trade and my ability to trade. Again, I'm spending less and less time physically at the computer. I can be sat on my mobile phone, which I did yesterday, check for trades. I've got what I call a bed and breakfast strategy. In the last 30 minutes, the market open, is a mechanical condition being met, just check out my mobile phone, pop the trade on and carry on watching the TV. Because I'm in the UK, I trade the US markets, so it was my evening essentially, and carry on doing what I'm doing. So the technological evolution in trading, it's remarkable, as you probably gather. You can kind of nerd out and think of possibilities of how could have, would have, things will improve, but just look at what we've got now. It's immense how we can get started in the world of trading, let alone in the fields of in other industries and fields. These tools are a significant aid in developing strategies, making decisions, removing the emotions, which is kind of my motivation for dipping into this world. It gives you a huge measure of peace of mind knowing that the algorithm is said that there is a trade or not a trade, as the case may be, and the research has been done, so I've got an average expectation of making some money. Just like every other successful business in the world, we expect to make money, otherwise why are we in this business in the first place? So we have a proven trading plan or business plan to steal from the real world of business. So combining all of these advancements and technologies with the fundamental trading skills and discipline, it creates a powerful synergy which allows traders to navigate the markets more effectively than ever before. So if you like what you've heard today, be sure to follow and listen to the very first episode where I map out the first of several of my most profitable money-making strategies. If you'd like to learn more about my training and mentorship, head over to antivestor.com, or you can shoot me an email to phil@antivestor.com and let's start the conversation. Put my teeth in, Phil. I've got a lot of time for serious traders. And what I do is not for everyone. But at the very least, I'll always point you off in the right direction for what you're looking for. So that's all for today. Thank you for giving me your time and attention and making me a part of your regular routine. Have a wonderful day, and I'll speak to you at the same time next time. Toodaloo trader. Keep in mind that futures, options on futures, stocks and stock option trading involve a degree of risk that may not be suitable for all investors. There is a risk of loss in every investment that you make, and it's your responsibility to assess the risks of your decisions. Past performance is no guarantee of future performance, and Antivestor provides educational information and does not provide financial advice.